everybody, and welcome to a pop-up show for the NFL edition. I am your host, Alex Loosemore. I've got Johnny here with me to do a mock draft 1.0 here. We're just going to kind of go for however long it takes, just kind of explain our mock draft 1.0s. And then the other show, episode 135, I believe it is, will be happening later, the regular scheduled time of 10 p.m. Eastern. So without further ado, welcome, Johnny. How's it going?
How's it going, guys?
Yeah. So, like I said, it's pretty cut and dry. We're just going to go through and do our mock drafts. Now, neither of us had any trades in this one. So Chicago is keeping the first pick. Nobody's moving up for a quarterback. Nobody's moving down to get out of a spot. It's just the straight 1 through 32 that is listed on any site you go to. And it was hard to do no trades, I will say that, because there were so many spots where I was like, oh, this is the perfect spot to move up for a quarterback, or, oh, this is the perfect spot to move up for this or that. So,
well, I kind of expect like the Raiders to be a sneak surprise trade up to try to grab their quarterback.
Denver's mine.
Yeah, I that's what went on my list too. I just haven't figured out who their trade partners would be yet.
And I had a few spots in mind, but
how much they want to give up.
Yeah, that's the big part.
Yeah.
Well, and then some of these teams is also going to depend who gets a veteran quarterback, who misses out on the Kirk Cousins, the potentially Justin Fields, the Russell Wilsons, and who's just kind of left stranded, right? So
that's kind of where I got the Patriots. I got them signing a veteran quarterback, actually, but that was just a speculation of mine. I mean, watch them go get it picking at 3, you know what I mean? And then they go get a veteran quarterback. That would kind of enable them to, like their old style. They used to just trade back, and gather those draft picks up. I kind of seen them reverting back to that a little bit this year.
I do too. I really think that come draft night they're going to trade back, or they might have already traded back pre-draft. But I don't see them picking at 3. I really don't, because I'm like you. I think they go veteran at quarterback this year and just kind of get somebody to try and right the ship sooner, and get a piece, whether it's a wide receiver, an offensive lineman, maybe a defensive piece for Gerard Mayo there in year 1. But yeah, I don't see a rookie quarterback there either.
And if they want a rookie quarterback, I think there'll be somebody, JJ or Bo Nix or somebody, depending on how far back they trade back. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, should we hop right into it?
Sure.
All right. So with the first overall pick, the Chicago Bears select. What do you got?
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
I mean,
yeah.
If you're going to get rid of Fields, you better go for the guy everybody who has as a consensus. You know what I mean? I'm still not sold on Caleb Williams, although he's saying the right thing now. But he's not even doing. This is something I can understand. Not throwing, not doing this or not doing that, but not even doing medicals or interviews. Why?
Yeah, there's a few people doing that. Huh? That's very strange.
Yeah,
a few people doing that this year. Yeah, I've got Caleb as well. If he gets out of his own head, just focuses on football and plays like he can, this is a guy that in a very short time could be a top 10, top 5 quarterback in the NFL. This is a guy that you're also risking potentially not being the leader of your franchise, and you're picking up high for a quarterback again in a few years. Exactly. So let's see if the Bears can finally get this right. I personally think they should stay with Justin Fields, but it sounds like it's pretty clear that's not what they're doing. So yeah, I got Caleb.
They keep sending mixed signals, man. 1 minute it sounds like they're going to trade it, and then the next minute, I think they're just open to offers. You know what I mean? They're trying to fill out the water right now.
Do you see the video that Fields' agent posted the other day? It was a video of Fields in there, and somebody in the video was like, "You ready to go home, see your family?" Like it could have just been whatever, but Atlanta's a pretty strong favorite to get him right now, and he's from Georgia, so might just be somebody kind of trolling, but I don't know. We'll see.
I have something totally different going to Atlanta.
You and me both. Well, actually, I have Fields going to Atlanta. I will say that going into this mock draft. So Atlanta doesn't pick a quarterback. Spoiler. Whoever this is, thank you for tuning in. Said the Bucs draft an edge rusher, linebacker, running back, center, wide receiver, 6'2" to 6'5" in height, replacement for Mike Evans.
I got that. I got it.
I got one of those 4 or 5 things.
The guy I have is a clone of Mike Evans's draft profile.
I think I know who you're going for. I think I know who you got just by saying that. All right, with the second overall pick, the Washington Commanders select. What do you got?
All right here. Here's my exact writing. I have Washington Commanders taking Drake May, North Carolina quarterback. He's been linked to Washington since before the 23 season even got underway. So, yeah, I mean, pretty much most of that is because we were telling Sean. But now I'm committed to it now. I'm going to have to stick it out.
Yeah, I also got Drake May. To me, this is, if you're looking for the prototypical NFL quarterback, this is your guy. Drake May to me is Herbert with shades of Justin Allen, or Josh Allen, sorry. Right, he's kind of right in that same mold. The big arm can make all the throws. The one thing I will say for Drake May, he's gotta calm down. There's too many times on tape, and usually it works pretty well for him. But the second pressure comes, he's gone. Yeah. You got to be able to sit, make that quick throw, and just get the ball out, because the defenses are coming at you a lot quicker in the NFL.
And he could have stayed in college one more year, couldn't he?
Yes, he could have. And he would have been the bona fide number 1 quarterback next year. But I do still think there's a chance for him to go 1 this year. I think there's 3 guys that could go 1 this year.
Jayden Daniels.
Yeah.
I'm catching up on Jayden Daniels right now. I mean, I've got him in my draft, but
for me, I
talk about the opposite now. I haven't seen Daniels do any panicking. If he's going 1, 2, 3 on his progressions and getting the ball out that quickly, in recent history, there's only one person I've seen do that, and that was Brady. Marino used to do it. Elway used to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in recent history, Brady's the only one that I've seen really do that like that. You know? Even Mahomes, he goes to 2 checkdowns, and if he's got pressure, he escapes the pocket.
Takes off, yeah. Well, I mean, part of that might be he's only ever had 2 options, but yeah, no, I think the one thing to look for, especially if Caleb goes 1, Cliff Kingsbury being the offensive coordinator for Washington. You look at the quarterbacks he's had Baker, he's had obviously Caleb, Kyler. So he's had that quarterback that's a little more mobile and that's a little more elusive. So Jayden Daniels might be the guy there. And I'm starting to hear more talk of that, but I went with Drake May.
Yeah, I kind of try to eliminate all the talk at this time of the year.
Yeah.
Because by the end of the season, by the end of the college season, we've seen what most of these guys can do. All right.
Yep.
There's not a whole lot of surprises after the combine, or even up to the combine. Up to the combine, there's not really a lot of big surprises. Once in a while, you'll get that combine guy that comes out, or at the all pros, the all pro game and stuff. They'll come out and light it up, but usually it's like 1 in a million, on that. So
Typically you're more hurting your draft stock in these events than you are helping it.
Yep.
Unless, like I said, you're a DK, a John Ross, someone like that you pop off the charts. All right. With the third overall pick, the New England Patriots select.
Well, who was your second? Who was your second one?
Drake May. I agreed with you.
Okay. Well, I got okay. First off, I know the Cardinals have Kyler Murray. They also know that Kyler Murray has not been able to stay on the field a single entire season yet. Okay.
This is New England's pick.
And right now they're in a rare position to be able to build that quarterback room. And after last year's quarterback fiasco with everybody, it seemed like in the league getting hurt and going to second and third string quarterbacks, I think right now is the perfect spot for the Cardinals to get a quarterback. And I got Jaden Daniels going there.
New England picks there, not Arizona.
I might not have done that if I'd have waited a week to make my mock draft, but it's there, and I'm going to stick to it right now.
Well, I'm gonna have you adjust it because New England picks third, not Arizona.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! I skipped the fourth. Yep, I did. Patriots, Marvin Harrison Jr. All right.
Oh, okay. I like that. I went against.
Go ahead. I didn't even have a lot written down. That's why I skipped over it because I didn't see it.
Fair. I went against what I said earlier just because I think this third pick, regardless of who picks it, is going to be the third quarterback. So I just wrote Jaden Daniels here. It's got New England attached to it for now. But I think if New England keeps this pick and doesn't draft Daniels, I do think it's Marvin Harrison Jr. I agree with you on that. But I've got Jaden Daniels here for now. So it is what it is.
If they bring in, say, Kirk Cousins, the best thing they could have is a Marvin Harrison Jr., somebody to help Kirk Cousins work it out, you know? I mean, It makes sense to me. And you know, we talked about a few minutes ago, it's their MO to trade out. So that's the best I could do without putting a trade in there.
Well, and see, I think regardless, New England trades out of this pick, to be honest with you. I really do.
I do too.
All right, so we heard your fourth. My fourth, since I had the quarterbacks going 1, 2, and 3, Marvin Harrison Jr. is my fourth. DeAndre Hopkins left before the season this year. You pair up Kyler Murray with another jump ball receiver, another do-it-all receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. You go later on in the draft and get your speed guy, or you re-sign Hollywood Brown, and your receiver room is pretty freaking good at that point, especially for what Kyler can do. So I think Arizona's dream scenario is Marvin Harrison Jr. sitting here.
That would be a dream scenario for them, I think.
Yeah.
But then I got to thinking about that quarterback room, and you're playing with a guy who hasn't stayed healthy a single friggin' year in his entire career so far. Do you really want to chance that and go in and you saw what happened with them this year, man? So
now part of that is he hasn't had an offensive line. They've built that offensive line pretty decently, and I think they're going to finish it off this year.
True.
So I think you give Kyler, well, especially with that contract, Kyler ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, they can get out of it due to health reasons next year. If he comes out of this season without an injury, then he's locked in. But if he gets injured again, they can get out of that contract.
Yep. See, and here's, I think Arizona, if they're smart, you use these 2 first-round picks they have to get pieces around Kyler. I think a receiver and an offensive lineman. And then 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, somewhere in there, you draft a quarterback to develop in case Kyler gets hurt again and you want to get out of that. But I don't think personally that they spend a first rounder on a quarterback, especially. I really don't think the 4th pick, but I don't hate the idea either. All right.
I was just thinking that it would be sensible that you're not going to get this position if you are getting better as a team.
Yeah.
You're not going to be in this position anytime soon. And if you
Yep.
really aren't sure about Kyler and his future, why not? It's your best chance to do it. And that was all the reasoning I put behind that. I didn't put any. The offensive line. I never can tell whether their offensive line's any good or not because Kyler's always leaving the pocket. So
true. All right. With the 5th pick, the Los Angeles Chargers select who?
Terrion Arnold, Alabama cornerback. They have to replace some defensive backs there, and I'm pretty sure. Well, you know Harbaugh, he builds defenses.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you look at that. They gave J.C. Jackson all that money last year. He didn't pan out. He's already gone. You pair someone like Terrion Arnold with Asante Samuel Jr. That's a really good young corner duo.
Yep.
I like that a lot. I almost went there, but I went with somebody else that Jim's had an up close and personal view of while they were getting their ass kicked a couple years ago. One Mr. Brock Bowers. You give Justin Herbert that weapon at tight end. Keenan Allen might be out the door. Mike Williams might be out the door. This could be your number one weapon at the tight end position. And then
I got
you
no
build
argument
wide
with
receiver
that.
room after that.
I was very tempted to put Brock Bowers there too.
Then my other argument to just Bowers in general, their main weakness on the offensive line is right tackle. You get the tight end to pair beside the right tackle, and Bowers is a hell of a blocker. That kind of shores that up a little bit while you figure out who the hell is your right tackle.
And when Jim was in San Francisco, didn't he have Vernon Davis?
And Delaney Walker, both at the same time. Yep. And currently, the Chargers will have no tight end on their roster, if I'm not mistaken, because Gerald Everett is a free agent. So, kill two birds with one stone, fill the roster spot, and get an elite playmaker for Justin Herbert. Brock Bowers is my pick for the Chargers.
No arguments for me. I was tempted to put him there.
See, and I was tempted to put Arnold. I was tempted to put Joe Alt and just get that other tackle, shore it up. I was tempted to go Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze as well to replace whichever one they potentially get rid of Mike Williams or Keenan Allen. So, I think there's a lot of different ways the Chargers can go, mostly because they got to cut a ton of cap space. So I think they could just be replacing whichever star player they get rid of with this pick. All right. With the 6th overall pick, the New York Giants select who?
You just said his name, Rome Odunze, wide receiver in Washington.
That's what I got to.
If the Giants are ever going to go downfield, they got to quit playing around with these injured guys and these secondhand guys and stuff and get a real threat, dude. And that's how I see that one.
Yeah, I agree with that. And for me, this isn't me thinking Rome Odunze is better than Malik Neighbors, because I personally think Malik Neighbors is better. This is just the schematic fit. They really like Wan'Dale Robinson, who they got last year, who tore his ACL. He's the slot guy. He is the bona fide, shorter, like 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", slot guy. So Rome Odunze goes on the outside, and he's your jump ball. He's your deep threat. He's your number one outside guy to pair with Jalen Hyatt, which, again, you got a really good young receiving core there for Daniel Jones or whatever you do with quarterback here for the New York Giants. So I think Rome Odunze is a hell of a fit here.
I agree.
Go ahead.
Number 7?
Yeah, what do you got?
Brock Bowers to the Titans.
Goddamn. Will Levis throwing the Brock Bowers. Oh, my God.
That was my whole thought process is, how are you going to make Will Levis better? Giving Brock Bowers.
Yeah, I like that a lot. For me, what I did, I looked at who their head coach is coming in, Brian Callahan, the former Bengals offensive coordinator. What did that Bengals offense have? It was a ton of wide receivers. I went with Malik Neighbors here. get that young slot receiver to pair with Treylon Burks, who's on the outside. You get one other guy on the other outside, and your receiver room again is kind of set. And I think in general it's a weapon for Will Levis. Me personally, I would have gone tackle here, but it sounds like it's weapon for Will Levis at this point, just because of who the head coach is. So
Brock Bowers is one of those versatile tight ends that I just like. We've seen it, like I said in my article, we've seen it over and over again. When a team prone to run heavy needs to open it up downfield, their best bet is a solid, versatile tight end.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you look at that offense right now, assuming Derrick Henry doesn't come back and assuming that Tyjae Spears is the starter at running back, that is a speed back, a pure speed back. Brock Bowers, who's insanely quick, can do it all. Treylon Burks on the outside, like that's a really good set of young weapons for Will Levis. Brock Bowers, like I said, tackle is where I was going to go. Bowers being a hell of a blocker, like I explained in my Chargers pick, kind of solves that one tackle spot for now. Puts a Band-Aid on it while you find your actual tackle of the future. Yeah, Bowers in pretty much anywhere is an insane fit.
He's McCaffrey, dude. He's basically a tight end that's McCaffrey. He can do everything. He's just. Hey, I won't be surprised if 2 years from now we're seeing Brock Bowers out there throwing touchdowns like McCaffrey.
Honestly, yeah. And it wouldn't shock me. I said this about a couple players the last few years at their respective positions. It wouldn't shock me if Brock Bowers is top 5 tight end in the NFL after this year.
Yeah. I think he could be to them what George Kittle was to San Francisco, man.
Yeah, and that is my pure comparison is George Kittle for Brock Bowers, only way faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love what Bowers brings to the table. I've seen him start to fall a little bit. I don't think that happens. I really don't. I've seen him go as low as 18 to Cincinnati. I don't see him getting anywhere near that personally, but it also wouldn't shock me given that he's a tight end.
You're not going to like the next pick.
Actually, I think I really will.
I have the Falcons taking J.J. McCarthy.
I think that's a really good fit for him. I really do. It's it's my second best fit.
I think it's my favorite pick, other than the fact that they're in my division. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think you could ask for a better spot for him with the running game that they've built up in on that team. They got a defense. I think he's the perfect quarterback to fit that scheme. Not that he can't throw the ball. Don't even think that, because he can. He can throw the ball.
Yep.
But the fact that they're going to that scheme of theirs, it just looks like it's made for him.
One, you're essentially putting J.J. McCarthy in a Sean McVay scheme. That's the kind of offense they're building to run there.
Yeah.
And holy shit. Yeah, that's that's my second favorite fit for JJ. I actually put him to my favorite fit in this mock draft. He ended up being there when I made that pick. I think that's who trades up for him anyways. But for me, like I said, Atlanta, I have them trading for Justin Fields. So they don't need a quarterback at this pick. I went with Dallas Turner, the edge rusher from Alabama. I think he's the first edge rusher off the board. His ability to be that speed rusher off the edge, he's a really good run defender. He reminds me a little bit of Will Anderson. He's not as good as Will Anderson, but he reminds me a lot of Will Anderson. And it's not just the Alabama factor. It's the run stuffing ability, the different pass rush moves. I really like Dallas Turner here. And I think this is a guy you can kind of start to build that pass rush off of.
I was listening to Van Noy today, and he made a really good argument. And I like Javon Curse. I think he's sitting at number 2 or 3 on the edge rusher rankings and shit, right?
Yeah.
But he made a good argument. He thinks that Curse might be the first edge rusher off the board. And
talking Jared Verse, the Florida State guy.
Yeah, and his argument was he wants to see that split. He's waiting on the split. If the split matches up with the tape, which if he's got that burst in the 10 to 20 range, then he'll probably be the number one off the board. And, but yeah, I'm with you on your pick too, man. It does make sense if they take Justin Fields 100%.
See, and it's funny you brought up
where will they take him at? Just off the top of your head, who will make that trade with them? Well, Chicago, but
I think it's a second or a third and a bit, or a second round pick for Fields. I could also see a hypothetical trade that I saw today that I thought made a lot of sense. Was you swap 8 and 9 because Chicago's got the 9th pick, right? You move up that one spot, and then it's essentially at that point Fields going to Atlanta with the 9th pick, and Chicago gets the 8th pick and a 5th rounder. So for Atlanta, you don't have to give up much because you're giving the extra draft value, right? You only have to give up the 5th or whatever. And then Chicago, you get your quarterback, you get off Fields, and then you're potentially one spot higher if one of those receivers is still sitting
there. All right. Well, I went on the assumption that Chicago keeps Fields because I just think it's stupid if they get rid of him right now. I really do.
Fair.
And I got them taking Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, if he was there, I would have taken him in a heartbeat in mine.
I think that would help Fields out immensely if they have him.
Well, and then, I mean, you look at it. You got DJ Moore. You got Cole Kmet, who's really coming into form as a tight end. Malik Neighbors in the slot. That is nasty.
Yeah.
That is so nasty. I really like that. It's funny you mentioned Jared Verse because that's who I have going to Chicago at 9.
Is it?
Yeah. To me, and everything you said, Jared Verse is my top edge rusher in the draft. I just thought for Atlanta, Dallas Turner was the better fit. You pair Jared Verse with Montez Sweat in Chicago. Goddamn. That is a nasty pass rush. And they're both really good at stopping the run as well. So
I don't know if Chicago would be that. I mean, they need offense, and we know they need offense. Their defense is good, but they could. Oh man, you put Jared Verse there, and
their defense is good, but it's still got a lot of holes.
Yeah,
you need another edge rusher, you need another linebacker, you need probably another corner, you need a safety. Like you need a guy at each level, pretty much. So, to me, at this point, it was really best available player. The 3 receivers were gone. Like I said, I would have taken Neighbors or Odunze if either of them were there. But to me, I don't think they need a tackle. They need interior offensive linemen. So you could take someone like Alt, move one of the tackles inside. But to me, it was, okay, am I taking Jared Verse? Am I taking a corner? Am I taking Latu for another defensive end? Am I taking one of the D tackles? I thought it was a little early for that. So I stuck with Verse at 9.
Well,
we're in unison on 10. So go ahead and say what we got.
Yeah, they've got to protect Rodgers. You know, that offensive line looked like shit, so I got them taking Joe Alt.
Yeah, I think if Joe Alt's sitting here for the Jets, they run to the podium. They get in trouble like Detroit has the past few years for sending in their pick too early.
Yeah.
Joe Alt's the guy. To me, this is the best left tackle prospect we've seen in a few years, probably back to Panay, Rashawn Slater. I think he's that level of prospect.
Well, he's such a good level. I'm not sure that he's going to last that long, but yeah.
Yeah, to me, this is the latest he goes. I don't think he goes any later than 10. He's a top 10 prospect. And I really think if this draft and this draft class was 10 years ago, he's going number 1. Chicago would take him at 1, and they'd figure out their quarterback situation after. But you've seen the quarterbacks kind of start to take that jump where the left tackles usually were the number 1 pick there.
Yeah.
I think Joe Alt is that good. He's, like you said before, 6'8". He's about 320. Moves very well. Love his hands.
He's
love
a
his
monster,
footwork.
dude. He's a fucking. I want Sunday. I'm going to be watching just to see how his hands are and his hips.
Yeah. I love everything about Joe Alt. He is, like I said, he's Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater level of prospect. And for anyone that's been watching the show, you know how I felt about Penei Sewell as a prospect. So, I think the Jets run to the podium to pick Joe Alt and protect Aaron Rodgers there. All right, pick number 11, the Minnesota Vikings select who? What do you got?
Let's face it, if Cousins is gone, this could be a completely different choice, right?
Yep.
But with them having issues at the wide receiver room, I've got them taking Brian Thomas Jr.
Oh, that's a good pick. I like that.
I mean that if Cousins is gone, that's going to be completely flipped up, you know.
But. Yeah, I think they'll go quarterback if, they could just go a veteran quarterback again if Cousins leaves.
What they're going to do? Trade with the Patriots and just take Mac Jones?
I mean, they could trade up to 3 and take whatever quarterback sitting there at 3. Yeah. I think Russell Wilson would actually be a pretty good fit in Minnesota. I really do.
Oh, I forgot about Russell. Yeah, but I do think the Patriots and the Vikings have a trade by draft day.
I think potentially, if they don't go after Fields, I think Atlanta could move up to 3. I think Minnesota could move up. I think Denver could move up, and I think Vegas can move up.
If Belichick was still there, I would almost 100% guarantee they go after Fields.
Yeah,
but with him not there, I don't think that they're going to be as what do you call? I don't know. They're not going to be looking at that type of quarterback right now. I don't think that's just
New opinion. England or Atlanta?
Huh?
You talking New England?
New England, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Atlanta would, yeah.
Yeah, I think Atlanta would in a heartbeat.
I mean, Kirk Cousins. I mean, he can run. That's the kind of quarterback I think.
Now, is he going to be able to run like that coming off the Achilles tear? That's the only question.
But see, he don't need to because he's a good pocket player too.
Very true. I've got Kirk Cousins coming back to Minnesota. I think the only other spot he would go is Atlanta, and I've got Fields going there. So, I think he returns to Minnesota. Stays with the Vikings.
Why do you think he would? Why do you think Atlanta would be his only choice?
To me, that's the only fit I like. That's just me personally. I don't really know where else he would really. Would he leave Minnesota to go to Vegas? I don't think so.
I think the Patriots is going to be enticing for some people, man. Not just because of their legacy, but because of the coach they have now. He's a player's coach. He is a player. So they
Kevin O'Connell was too.
Yeah.
Now, not the kind of player Jerome Mayo was, didn't have as long a career or anything, but wasn't ever really a starter either. But that's neither here nor there.
I think Mayo might actually, and I'm getting way ahead of the game here, but I think Mayo actually might be a legacy coach. I think he might be one of those coaches that just stand out.
I like that fit a lot. I really do of Jerome Mayo in New England. It's a guy that gives that kind of fresh feel, but it's not somebody that's entirely going to uproot everything.
Right.
It's that continuity, that same kind of style.
He knows things that need to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the main factor in him staying with the Vikings over going to the Patriots at that point is the offensive line and the weapons he has in Minnesota. He's got a top 10 offensive line in Minnesota, and he goes to a bottom 10 offensive line, arguably, in New England. He's got, in my opinion, the best receiver in the game with the Vikings. And you get Marvin Harrison Jr., but he's not Justin Jefferson. You got TJ Hawkinson with the Vikings. You find him a running back, and you're golden offensively.
Yeah.
The Vikings desperately need work on the defense, and that's where I went. I was kind of surprised I still had him there at 11, but Terrion Arnold, the corner from Alabama, who you had going 5, that was my pick. You pair him with Byron Murphy, I think is his name, the old Cardinals corner who they drafted who they signed last year. Yeah, it is Byron Murphy. Okay, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I was just slipping up because there's also a Byron Murphy in the draft this year, a defensive lineman from Texas. So I was like, am I just thinking of that name because of him? Yeah, I've got Arnold there. Pair him with Murphy. Start to kind of build that secondary, and then you don't have to blitz as much if you're Brian Flores because you'll actually have some people covering in the back end. So yeah, I've got Arnold going there. 12, the Denver Broncos. What do you got here?
I'm excited about the next 2 picks.
Me too.
I got Jared Verse going to the Denver Broncos. That's my
Holy shit. Holy shit.
I think he's going to be the answer to their Von Miller.
Yeah. I was going to say you give Sean Payton his Cam Jordan back.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, this was my favorite fit for JJ. Pair him with Sean Payton. You get Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, those weapons on the outside, an improving offensive line, a good set of defensive players on the other side. I think that defense will improve this year, changing the staff up a little bit. And it's a spot that we've been saying for a couple of years as a quarterback away. And you've got JJ, who might be a little biased, but all he's done is win. He only lost 2-3 games in high school, only lost 1 game as a starter at Michigan. This guy knows how to win. So you pair him with Sean Payton in that offense.
The AFC West, man, the best coaching division in football right now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I like Pierce. I
really like Pierce.
Peyton, and then Harbaugh. Come on.
See, and that was part of my thing too. I kind of want to see JJ go against Jim twice a year. I kind of want to see that. So I do. And because then it gives that interesting thing of JJ knows how Jim coaches and Jim knows how JJ is. So it gives that kind of aspect for both of them a little bit on either side of the ball. And then that matchup too of JJ versus Justin Herbert twice a year.
Can you imagine being an owner and knowing that you probably got the best coach you could get in there, and still you might not be winning your division because the other head coaches in that division?
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
Like Pierce is clearly the 4th coach. Yeah. There's a couple divisions where he'd be the number 1 coach right now. Exactly. Like, yeah, that's a wild division, just talent and coaching and everything put into it. I think this is the year where it becomes what everyone's been expecting, which is the number 1 division in football. They're just an insane group of talent, coaching, all that in this division. It's going to be so fun to watch, especially if Denver goes and gets their quarterback, somebody like JJ McCarthy, to kind of right the ship there.
Whoever wins that division will earn it. That's all I got.
Yeah,
they're going to earn it.
I don't think any of them will get the 1 seed this year because they'll have to beat the hell out of each other to get it.
They're going to face what the AFC North has been facing for years, man, just beating each other's ass up and stuff. And
it's going to be a damn good 2 or 3 seed. I can tell you that much. Yeah. All right. Keeping it in the AFC West, Vegas, what do you got?
I got them taking your guy. Wasn't he your first edge rusher off the board, Dallas Turner?
Yep.
Yeah, I got them taking Dallas Turner here.
Oh my God, you pair him with
matching him up opposite of Crosby. Yeah,
and then Tyree Wilson up the middle. Holy shit, yeah, that's nasty.
They're going to have to do something to counter all that offensive firepower that's coming at them too. So.
Mm-hmm. For me, I looked at Vegas, and I didn't like the fit of a Bo Nix or someone there, so I think they'll try and get Russell, or they'll try and get a veteran quarterback. I could see them maybe getting Jacoby Brissett to kind of be that bridge guy for a year to
I
draft a
love
guy next
Brissett,
year.
man. I do. I love Brissett.
I think he's a hell of a quarterback.
At his
Him
age right
or
now, I don't see him as a long-term starter
no,
because he's already set now in that niche.
Yep.
But I think he should have been a long-term starter at the beginning of his career, man.
And I think you get him or Gardner Minshew, someone like that, to kind of hold you over for a year or two until you find your quarterback you really like in the draft.
I think Gardner's still young enough; he might earn a starting job somewhere. I don't know where.
See,
I mean, he played a hell of a season last year. You know what I mean?
and he really did. So then at that point you get Minshew, and if he balls out, then he's your guy. Otherwise, you've got a guy that can hold you over till you get that young quarterback.
Yeah.
You need to protect this guy though. So what I did, you got Colton Miller, who's a hell of a left tackle on the outside there. On the left side, you need a right tackle desperately though. I went with Talise Fuaga, the tackle from Oregon State. I think he's the best right tackle on the board. He's a mover of men. He is such a good run blocker. He's powerful. He's nasty. To me, he is a Raider. I think Antonio Pierce would love to have this guy as a tackle. So Fuaga is my pick for the Raiders.
Just repeat what you said now for the Saints. That's who I just picked for the Saints.
You had Fuaga for the Saints?
For every fucking reason you just said.
Yeah. I love that. I went with an interesting one here. I got Bo Nix going to the Saints. I
say Bo Nix for a special person.
I'm interested to see where. Oh, I think I know where you're going with that.
Well, I'm not. I did go with Daniel Jeremiah on this pick too. I can't. We talk. We're not even there yet. So
yeah, I think I know where you're going with that. This gives you an out if Derek Carr sucks again this year. With all that money, everything.
Yeah.
And realistically, it wouldn't shock me with all that cap they got to cut if they move him this year. Just try and get out of it. Kind of like the Russell Wilson thing with Denver. Cut your losses, get out of it, save as much money as you can, and then start young again. Bo Nix to the Saints. I think that's what I got here, at least for now. This next pick is one of my favorite, just like team fits in the entire draft. I'll save it though. Who do you got for Indy at 15?
Olamuya, whatever his name is,
Olu Fashanu.
Yeah, Fashanu.
Yeah.
Penn State offensive tackle because they need one, and I thought that with a little bit of help at tackle, the Colts would have been a little bit better with Minshew.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's a very big key right there to me.
I like that. I went to the defensive side of the ball personally because I think it is a deep tackle draft. You get a good tackle in the second round. I went with a guy that at the start of the process, I was hoping he'd be there at 28 for the Lions. Now I'm like, can we trade up and get this guy? It's Quinyon Mitchell, the corner from Toledo. I love what this guy has done. Watching some of that MAC football during the week and when there's not much else on, you saw this guy lock down half the field in the MAC week in and week out. Most teams didn't even test him. They went to the other corners.
Yeah.
He was that good. And then there was the questions of whether he could do it at the top level. Went to the Senior Bowl and did the exact same thing. Locked guys down play after play after play. He was the best player at the Senior Bowl, in my opinion. And a lot of other people's opinions as well. So he made himself a lot of money that weekend. Let's see how he does at the Combine here. But I've got Quinyon Mitchell as my second corner off the board going to the Colts. Seattle at 16. What do you got?
You've already discussed this guy, Brian Murphy.
Oh, okay. I accidentally discussed him.
He's explosive, nimble, instinctive. He's a dynamic disruptor against passing game. He explodes out of his stance. He can roll his hips on contact, creating instant punch.
Yep.
He constantly gets underneath blockers. prevails in leverage battle. He has quick hands. Yeah, I love the hands, man.
Yeah, he's got real good hands, especially for a D tackle like that.
He can change of direction against the run is amazing too. That's Rondé Barber-esque right there.
Yeah, he's a guy that's a lot of fun to watch on tape, especially defensive tackle can be a really boring position to watch on tape. He makes it fun. He really does. I love watching him.
He's got a skill. He's got a technique that nobody else I've never seen before. He uncoils. Okay. When he goes, his balance is all in his balance. When he goes on a take on a block, he goes to one knee, uncoiling, and he'll uncoil and strike like a snake, dude.
Yeah.
And make plays. I've never seen anybody use that technique before.
Typically, you go down to a knee, you're dead.
Technique, dude.
Yeah.
He's amazing. I like the guy. I like him a lot. Now watch him be a bust. I like him.
Yeah, well, typically when you go down on a knee like that, you're dead in the water. You're screwed. The other 300-pound guys are going to put you in the dirt. Yeah. But for him to be able to push back up on a 300-pounder with that explosion, that power, it is absolutely insane. I love that pick there. I've got him going a little bit later.
It's like a Mortal Kombat punch, you know? Yeah. The way he comes up, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah. I went to the other side of the trenches. I went the offensive line. I thought their one massive weakness last year was the center position. I got my favorite center prospect in a very long time, probably since Frank Ragnow a few years back.
Wait a minute. Before you say his name, is this guy a true center? Is he the one? There's one true center that I've seen in the draft that is I'm focused on, and you're probably picking him right now.
See, I think this guy's a true center. I haven't looked far into the centers yet. Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon. That is my.
He's my second, but there's I can't remember his name. He's in my list though. I'll have him.
Okay. Yeah, to me, this is my favorite center prospect since probably Ragnow a few years back when we got him. And he reminds me a lot of Ragnow. This is a guy that I think whether it's Geno or whether you get younger at the quarterback position in the near future here, this is a guy that can be the pivot on your offensive line, be the leader, make all your calls, and he's a phenomenal blocker. So, to me, Jackson Powers Johnson for Seattle. I think Cincinnati's pissed that he's gone. I think they would have loved to have him, but I have him going to Seattle at 16. All right, what do you got for Jacksonville at 17?
Another cornerback, the one you named earlier, Quinion Mitchell. But them two, between the Seahawks and Jacksonville, I was going back and forth between Mitchell and Murphy, man. I was like, oh,
yeah.
I just really like that. Murphy's move, that snake. I'm going to call it a snake strike, man. That move it just blew me away.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy, dude. That's some shit you see on a fucking video game.
Yeah. For me, I also went corner. I went with my third corner. It's Nate Wiggins from Clemson. I think this is a guy, you pair him on the outside with what they've got currently in Jacksonville. He's probably going to walk in and be your best corner right off the bat because they don't got much there in the secondary. I believe it's Tyson Campbell's the other one. He's okay. They don't got much, though. This can be your number one lockdown corner. Just take on the best guy on the other team. And I mean, he's a rookie corner. He's going to win some. He's going to lose some. But this is a guy that can develop into that number one lockdown, shutdown corner for you while you build the rest of that secondary around him. So I got Nate Wiggins going to Jacksonville at 17.
I like that pick.
What do you got at 18?
I have the Bengals. Come on, man. Is there any? All right, it could be an inside lineman or it could be an offensive tackle. Where do you think I went?
I'm going to say tackle.
Yeah, because I mean that's what got Burrows killed last year. So
yeah,
I got taking J.C. Latham.
I like that, and he's a guy that gives you versatility because Latham could also play guard if you really wanted him to. He's got the build for either one. I like him for a
His
tackle.
quickness, he's not really quick, but he's got good flow. He's 18.
I kind of want to see what his arms measure at the combine here.
Yeah.
Because that's a massive thing for tackles is that arm measurement. That determines for a lot of people whether you're a tackle or a guard. I also went offensive tackle here. He's my my third tackle off the board. I got Olu Fashanu, Penn State guy. I think you move him to right tackle, keep Orlando Brown at the left tackle, and he's a very raw prospect. He's a guy 5 years from now could be the best tackle in this draft class, or you could be looking for another tackle come the end of his rookie contract. Kind of like Jonah Williams was for them a few years back. But he's got a really good punch. It's just inconsistent. When he's on, he is a very, very good tackle. But there's slumps that he has where he's a second or third round tackle. So that's why he slid a bit for me here. A lot of people have him as the number one tackle off the board going inside the top 10. I don't like him that much. I saw him against Michigan the past couple of years. I saw him against Ohio State the past couple of years. And there were plays where he would stop those like top edge rushers for those teams. There were a lot of times where he got made to look silly in those games.
I couldn't put him over Alton in the first place.
No. I think it's laughable to put him over Joe Alt, personally. I think it's absolutely laughable.
My thing with Latham is his quickness isn't there, but his power, and he plays the run and pass very fucking efficiently. So that was the ceiling field for me with Bengals because they are a run and pass team. You know, they're run heavy too, and he'd be a great help for Mixon
if they keep Mixon.
Well, is he's on free agency list now?
No, it's just for the fourth straight year they're talking about cutting him to save that money. So we'll see if it actually happens.
We can use another fucking running back in Tampa.
Well, and the other thing is for Cincinnati, Chase Brown started to kind of play pretty well. So they might look at that as it might be their chance to get cheaper at the position, but we'll see. Like I said, there's been talks there for the last 3-4 years, and he's still there. So, all right, the Rams at 19. What do you got?
Bo Nix.
Yep, I knew it. I knew that's where you were going. As soon as you said you had a special spot for him.
And I just wanted to infuriate. At first, I just wanted to infuriate Scott. But after I thought about it, and then after seeing Daniel Jeremiah's breakdown on that, I was like, it actually fucking makes sense. It does.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to argue with, in this case, I mean, I went against Daniel Jeremiah in a lot of these picks, but in this case, I don't think I'm going to argue with him. I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah, if I didn't have New Orleans taking him, this would have been the spot I had him. But I think they're going to kind of go win now mode again with Stafford and these guys now that they've shown they can be healthy. So get a freaking offensive line to protect
this is by no means saying that they're going to let Stafford go or anything.
No. That's a smart pick to have him develop for a year or two under Stafford with McVay, and then you let him rip.
Because who knows how many years they're going to have picks in the first round again. You know how they are. They want to give away all the time.
Their first round pick since Jared Goff in 2016.
Right.
So,
which, hey, they did. I gotta give them credit, man. They did a very good job last year picking fifth to begin, starting at fifth.
Yeah.
Look what they got, dude.
Yeah. For me, you go that win now mentality. You try and protect Matthew Stafford, keep him upright. This is the biggest mover at tackle, and I think this is a perfect spot for him here. Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma. This is a guy that he's flying up those draft boards. A lot of it was kind of the personality mentality of him that was keeping him down. He's been saying all the right things, doing all the right things, and then he killed it at the Senior Bowl. So I think he's a perfect spot at either the left or right tackle here for Stafford and the Rams. I really, really like Tyler Guyton here.
I didn't see the Senior Bowl, or a lot of these picks might be different.
Fair.
So,
all right. Your hometown Pittsburgh Steelers picking at 20.
I know that they're talking a lot. The local media here is talking a lot about Amarius Mims. I know they need offensive tackle.
Yeah.
They really haven't had one since since Mike or Maurice, whichever one it was, Pouncey retired. So
yeah,
well, he was a center, but still, that line still needs work.
Mm-hmm. So that's you and Amarius Mims?
Yeah, Amarius Smith.
I think that's a really good pick there.
Skill set in the pass blocking. He's not quite as dependable in his run blocking, but still.
Yeah, I really like that pick. To me, the only thing worse than their right tackle position right now, because I think the rest of their offensive line is pretty decent. The only thing worse than their right tackle is their corner opposite of Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah.
Or you could argue that other safety spot opposite of Minkah Fitzpatrick. Here's a guy that can fit either of those, Cooper DeJean from Iowa. He's a guy that could be a corner, could be a safety.
Did he get hurt? Or did he get
he
was in the news for something.
Yeah, I believe it was knee, ACL, something like that, at the end of the year in practice. So he's not going to be ready to go for the combine. I think he's ready to go for, maybe it was pro day, or maybe he'll just be ready to go for like rookie mini camp, something like that. But he should be ready to go fairly soon by the sounds of it. But this is another guy, kind of like Quinion Mitchell, that I was praying would be there for the Lions. But it's not going to be the case. I don't think there's really a shot that he's there. Personally, I think he's gone well before. That versatility of corner or safety, there's a lot of teams that need both in this kind of 18 to 25 range. So I think Cooper DeJean is the sweet spot there. Guys. I really like my pick, and before I did the mock draft, it wasn't anywhere near what I thought was going to be the pick. But the way it shook out, I really like my pick there as well. All right, Miami.
That's one of the reasons I only do one mock draft right at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, so that I'm fresh with that, because my memory sucks balls. You know that. So I got as much of that memory in my mind as I can, and I can go look like what's his name? The guy you just talked about,
Cooper DeJean.
DeJean, yeah, I didn't see a whole lot of tape on him, and the offensive lineman that you were just talking about, I didn't. I didn't see the Senior Bowl, so Mims I've seen. You can't avoid seeing a Georgia player anyway.
Yeah. When they're playing 15 games a year on average. Yeah. All right, what do you got for Miami at 21 here?
Miami. Oh, Hezron Cooper.
Oh, I like that.
He's one of my favorite linebackers, dude, out of A&M.
Yeah.
I was really wanting to put him with the Bucks, but I threw away my bias and put it where I thought it would work out. And they need it. They need it bad now.
Yeah, I really like that pick. I went with another spot they desperately need, which is the other tackle opposite of what's his name? Their left tackle currently. The old Saints tackle.
We didn't get to see very often.
Yeah.
Oh, I know you're
I'm blanking on his name now. Yeah, the old Saints tackle. But they need that quarterback. They need that tackle to block the quarterback's blind side to it being a left-handed quarterback. They need that right tackle desperately.
Need pass rushers too.
Yeah. I know the guy that we saw a lot of this year, Troy Fautanu, the tackle from Washington. Sean, thank you for tuning in, but the current starting tackle for Miami, that his last team was the Saints. He's been with Miami a few years now. God, it's bugging me. I can't think of his name.
You gotta have to look it up.
Yeah, I got Troy Fautanu, the offensive tackle from Washington, being the pick here. With all the edge rushers, the defense that they go against, they need to keep Tua upright. So
Yep.
I went with Fautanu here. 22 to Philadelphia. What do you got?
Philly. I almost made a joke and put another Georgia guy there, but I didn't. I went Graham Barton from Duke.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Interior lineman. I think he can play center, and they're going to need a center.
Yeah, I really like that. Tron Armstead. That's the tackle.
Armstead.
Yeah, no, I really like that. I went with somebody to fix their god-awful secondary for Philly. I went with Cameron Kinchens, the safety from Miami. He's my number one safety on the board. I think Slay coming back, you'll be fine on the one corner, but you desperately need help in the safety room, so Kinchens is my pick there for Philly. All right, pick number 23 for Houston. What do you got?
Seems like I'm giving everybody offensive lineman.
There's a lot of good offensive linemen, and a lot of teams need O-line, so...
Texans, I gave them Darius Robinson, defensive tackle from Missouri.
That's a
big,
damn
long,
good pick.
versatile defensive lineman. He lined up all over the Tigers' defensive front.
Yeah.
As a pass rusher, he wins on the edge, too.
Yeah.
Primarily, he's got a push-pull move, and that's his primary move. I don't know how much he can expand on that. He's got that club rip, which that's the same club rip that Warren Sapp used. So there's a lot of with his broad, he's got power, man. He's powerful.
Yeah.
He's got, those two moves alone are pretty effective. They've been pretty effective for him all along. So if he can just develop more moves, I think he'll be a top defensive tackle in the game.
I like that a lot. I went with getting CJ Stroud another weapon. I think you got Nico Collins and Tank Dell. I think you get one more receiver there to finish off this wide receiver room and this offensive weaponry for CJ Stroud. I went with a guy you had a fair bit earlier, Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU. God. Pair him with Collins and Dell.
That team is already scary, man.
That's a potential number one offense in the NFL with that set of weapons and that quarterback. Give me Brian Thomas Jr. Pair him with all those guys in Houston. 24 to the Dallas Cowboys. What do you got?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Do I have to? I got Jordan Morgan from Arizona going there. Offensive tackle.
Oh, I like that a lot. Especially if Tyron Smith walks away, like there's the potential of happening. You can leave Tyler Smith on the inside, put Morgan right beside him on the left side.
One thing I don't worry about Morgan, and this is what I told you earlier, I watch their hands a lot in the combine. Morgan's hands have already shown their efficiency.
So good.
He's fucking great hands, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't want to give them him, but I couldn't do anything else. It was right there. They needed it.
Yeah, I really like that. For me, another guy that you talked about earlier, and I think this is another one of my favorite fits player to team. Unfortunately, it had to be for the Cowboys, but Byron Murphy, defensive tackle from Texas. They need to stop the run. You pair him with Mozzie Smith in the middle if Mozzie Smith can get his shit together. Yeah. And that is a nasty D-tackle duo. Get yourself a linebacker in the middle of the draft, and that run defense is pretty much fixed. When I was sitting here, player to team, and he was still sitting here, I was like, oh my God. Match made in heaven for Dallas. Byron Murphy staying in Texas, playing for the Dallas Cowboys.
I won't mind if either one of us are wrong about that pick, and Jerry Jones just goes off script and gets some scrub.
He drafts Michael Penix Jr.
There you go. Yeah.
He wanted Johnny Manziel all those years ago. He goes and gets another quarterback instead. All right. Green Bay at 25. What do you got?
Enos Rakestraw.
Oh, fuck, I hate that, but that's such a good pick.
Yeah. I don't. He's athletic, flips his hips. He does everything the right way, man.
Yeah.
He attacks the blockers and the linemen in his pass rush. He's. I don't want to say much because I don't like Green Bay that much.
See, and I went to fix their secondary as well. I went Tyler Nubin, the safety from Minnesota. I think they could use another safety as well. Safety or corner, potentially left tackle if they move on from Bakhtiari, like it sounds like they're going to. They could use an interior defensive lineman. There's a few spots.
Bakhtiari hasn't been healthy the last few years. I mean,
he saves them like $20-25 million to move on. Yeah. I think they're going to.
Yeah.
I think he might retire, actually. I think he retires or goes and plays for the Jets, personally, but
well, I thought Saturday was going to follow Manning to Denver, and that never happened. I was like, what the fuck? That's his guy, man. You know?
Yeah. All right. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the 26th overall pick. Where did you go?
I got the guy that they got out of the cloning lab for Mike Evans, Adonis Mitchell. This guy.
That's not where I thought you were going to go. Interesting.
Oh, dude, is his speed. All right. Wide receiver from Texas. His size, his polish for the position. He's fast, but it's unnoticeable because he's got such a long stride.
Yeah.
He's polished. Let's see what they use. What's the words we got here? Surprisingly good route polish. Now that's ahead of where, because Mike needed to polish his route running when he came, but he changes tempo. He's getting clear out of his breaks. He gave Kool-Aid McKinstry. This is the reason I was like, I watched this over and over again. Kool-Aid McKinstry gave up, let's see, what was it? 78 yards and 2 touchdowns to him. Okay. Yep. And he has those wow catches on his faded routes. That's, if you're going to replace Mike Evans, this is the guy to do it with.
Yeah, to me, I thought you were going to go Keon Coleman there personally. I thought that's who you were going. Because I think that's another Evans player.
I like this guy better. I like him
better than Coleman, man. I went to replace somebody you guys just got rid of. I went Laiatu Latu, the edge rusher from UCLA, to replace Shaq Barrett there. Give you that big physical edge rusher opposite of JTS and Yaya and those guys that you're going to rotate through. Give you another big physical guy on the outside to get after the passer. You can never have too many pass rushers.
I feel like after Levante David's pressers are confusing as hell, dude.
I think he's coming back.
I watched him today. He's talking about he don't really want to retire. That since free agency, they've been able to talk to teams have been able to call. He's been getting phone calls, so there are teams that are interested in him. So he's
also probably going to play for retirement, though.
Huh?
I thought I heard him say that it was Tampa retirement.
I did too. But today on Good Morning Football, he blew that out of the water, man.
Interesting.
So I'm kind of like, he's either going to be a Buck or he's probably going to be in a different jersey.
Okay.
So I think Devin White. If Levante stayed, I think they moved Devin White to Barrett's place because that's his. That
White's coming
he
back?
Plays his best football.
Isn't White a free agent?
No.
You think they're bringing him back?
If they let Levante go, they probably have to.
Fair. You could also draft a linebacker at this spot, a Peyton Wilson from NC State, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. from Clemson. There's a few guys there that you could draft to take over the middle there. If Levante walks.
We're not replacing Levante. That's too crucial. I mean, even last year we had a great season, dude.
Yeah,
120 something fucking tackles again, and fucking fumbles recovery and all that shit.
He's still a top 5 middle linebacker in the game.
Yeah, so I hope that they work something out with him.
Yeah.
I think maybe that talk about his free agencies and stuff might have been a push for Jason or something. I don't know. But hopefully, if we're going to keep Devin White and Levante, then Devin's got to go to Barrett's spot because that's where he plays his best football.
Yeah. All right. Arizona at 27. What do you got?
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
I like that.
Oh.
I like that a lot. Like I said before, I think you get a receiver and then you build that offensive line. I know the guy that I was kind of surprised was still sitting here, J.C. Latham. Gives you that versatility. Like I said, he can play tackle, he can play guard, and he can play either side. He's played all four of those spots.
I like Latham, man. I do.
I really do too. And you've got Paris Johnson Jr., who I think you keep him as your right tackle. You got him entrenched there, keep him there. And then Latham, you could use help at both guard spots, and eventually DJ Humphries will be gone. You could use a left tackle. I think Latham can be any of those three spots, and I think you start to shore up this offensive line for Kyler Murray.
Let me say one more thing about Kool-Aid. He, like I've talked about, 40 yards, they don't really matter for a whole lot of things, except with the linemen it's the splits, right?
Yeah.
But with Kool-Aid, he really needs a good 40-yard dash because there's question marks about his speed.
Yeah.
If he has a good 40-yard dash, I think he can be drafted into the spot I have him here. If not, I think he might fall out.
There's a very realistic chance he falls out of the first round, just given how many corners are that are first round graded.
Exactly.
All right, Buffalo at 28. What do you got?
Dijon. I hesitated putting him any higher because I didn't know I couldn't find that article about what was wrong with him and shit.
Yeah, I think it was knee.
So I put him here to the Bills because they need help on their defense.
Fair.
Their coverage. Is it me or does their coverage just lack at the second half of the games?
Well, and I mean, you look at it, all their main studs from the past few years have gone out too.
Yeah.
I mean, Tre'Davious White can't stay healthy. Micah Hyde can't really stay healthy anymore. Jordan Poyer's in and out of the lineup consistently.
Yeah, they're running through their whole rotation. They're running through their rotations to keep everybody breathing in the first half of a game, and then there's nothing left for the rotation guys in the second half.
Yep. For me, the only reason I didn't go secondary here is because it's a deep secondary draft, so I think they go second and third round double up on DBs personally. I think Gabe Davis is out the door, so I went with a wide receiver to pair with Allen and Diggs. And it's a guy that if you eventually move on from Diggs because he can be a cancer, that kind of stuff, Keon Coleman can be your number one wide receiver on the outside. I love the idea of pairing Josh Allen with Coleman. And I saw him up close and personal when he was at Michigan State. Saw him very regularly score on us. And then he moved to Florida State and lit up the national stage. He's probably not going to go first round just because, again, how many receivers there are, how many DBs there are, how many of each of these key positions there are that are probably going to go first round. He might slip out. But this is a guy that I really, really like that fit to Buffalo. So Keon Coleman's a Buffalo. Bill on my draft.
What's that say for the what's his name? Diggs.
I think this is if you go out the door, we've got a number one guy. So if you want to go, you can go. We'll trade you. And I've seen talks of a few teams, the Lions being one of them, possibly looking to trade for him. So we'll see what happens there. If Diggs, I do think Diggs is a Bill week one. And I think Keon Coleman pairs very nicely alongside him. All right. With the Lions at 29, what do you got, Johnny?
The Lions are 29?
Or
Ravens.
No, we're 29, Baltimore's 30.
Well, I got my shit screwed up. Nobody called me out on it. I got the Lions at 30. Okay. I don't know why I did that.
I just flip them.
All right. I got, where's the right Lions? Oh, is Sean still listening? No, this is the Wolf Pack. I got the Lions taking Peyton Wilson from North Carolina State.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, I think you guys could use a linebacker.
Yeah.
The rotation, same thing with you guys as that what I said with the Bills. It seems like that second half, really, you guys were gassed, and I think you could use that strong rotation in there. And
yeah,
hey,
I don't hate that.
He's got instincts, playmaking ability, he has tools. He stacks the box really well.
Yeah, Peyton Wilson from NC State. There, Sean. Yeah, no, I really like Peyton Wilson. That's an interesting fit to the Lions. I don't hate that.
Though, and you know what usually bites a linebacker in the ass when they go from rookie to into the NFL is jumping routes because quarterbacks will bait them, and that's to me that's his only drawback.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. I also went defense. I went for one of the more major needs, in my opinion. I went defensive tackle to pair alongside Aleem McNeil. I went Jerzon Newton from Illinois. Another guy that can really stop the run, is a solid pass rusher from inside, can really push that pocket. Him and Aleem McNeil would be a lot of fun. Keep Hutchinson on the outside. Go spend some money on another edge rusher in free agency. I think the only drawback on this is I think another guy we're looking at if he doesn't get franchise tagged is Justin Madubuike from the Ravens. I think he could come in and be that other D tackle. So then at that point I would go corner personally for the Lions here, but I think it's defense no matter what here.
Are you guys looking at Madubuike?
I've heard that we're looking at Madubuike. I've also heard, and it's weird because we never really look at the top tier guys, so Madubuike was an interesting one.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot more of like DJ Reader, Sheldon Rankins, those kind of guys that D-tackle, that second tier guys that are still good starters, but they're not that elite free agent prospect. The only time I've seen the big name free agents is that edge rusher, whether it's Brian Burns, Josh Allen if he gets out, Daniil Hunter, those kind of guys. I've heard the Lions pressing hard for one of those guys, but defensive tackle, it seems like we're looking more at that second tier. Corner, it's hard to say. I've seen a lot of those top tier and that second tier, but it's been made pretty clear. It sounds like we're going after an edge rusher, an interior defensive lineman, and a corner for this Lions defense here. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. All right, Baltimore at 30. What do you got going on here? I think we might have the same pick here.
I was excited to say to put this one in here because not because of the Ravens, not because of the position or anything like that. I picked this one because of his eligibility issues with the NCAA. Devontae Walker.
Oh.
And the Ravens
same position,
definitely
player.
need another wide receiver to add to that weapon. We saw Jackson grow with the new wide receivers this year. So give him another weapon, man. Give him
Sean's
another weapon.
Gonna love that one too. The North Carolina boy.
Yep.
I went with a guy that Todd Monken's very familiar with. I went Ladd McConkey, the Georgia wide receiver here. Kind of that do-it-all, shifty guy, has the speed to play on the outside. And like I said, it's a guy that Monken worked with for years. So give him that guy that he knows how to use, kind of that Swiss Army knife on the outside. I went with Ladd McConkey to the Baltimore Ravens here. But I like that Tez Walker fit. I really do. That's a solid one.
I was excited to use him because, come on, man. They screwed him over with that fucking eligibility thing. And even then, what was his numbers? Let me see what his numbers were. I know I got it here somewhere.
See, yeah, Sean said love both of those. Walker is the truth. I love Tez Walker. I just personally think that the NCAA screwing him out of the first few games of the season is what's going to screw him out of the first round. But I think he's an early to mid second round guy.
41 receptions for 699 yards. Even that's 17 yard per catch.
Yep.
And 7 touchdowns. He is, what do you call him? The truth? Yeah. I agree with that. I like this guy.
I think he's going to be a game breaker in the NFL as long as he gets into the right offense. And there's a few of these offenses picking at the back end here. If he was to go to Buffalo, if he was to go to Baltimore or Kansas City, oh God.
No, please no.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities for Tez Walker to really do some damage at the NFL level. I like him a lot. Like I said, I think the only thing that keeps him out of the first round for me is him getting screwed out of those few games by the NCAA. And that's exactly, I think, what he did with less than 10 starts. Yeah, the dude's awesome. And I think whoever gets him is getting a steal, because even if he's picked in the 30s here, I don't think that's high enough. I think he's a really, really good receiver prospect for the NFL level.
Yeah, let's don't tell anybody that, though. I'd love to see I'd love to see Jackson with this guy, man.
That would be a lot of fun. All right, San Francisco at 31. What do you got?
Easy. Chris Braswell, Alabama.
Ooh. Okay.
Another edge rusher, because I think they weren't getting the push on Kansas City.
I mean, Kansas City held them left, right, and center, but
okay. Take penalties away that weren't there, but
I was going to say, you can't get pressure when you're getting bear hugged by the tackles, but that's neither here nor there.
Right. I
like that pick a lot, though, Braswell. Oh,
they were double teaming Joey like a motherfucker, man. And I think just add Braswell, keep that edge group healthy and winded throughout the game. I mean, because Joey Nick was playing 93% of the game.
Yeah, he's playing pretty much.
Give him a breather.
Play him every game.
Yeah, give those guys a breather and keep them fresh.
Mm-hmm. I thought about that, but then I thought of how weak their corners are. You get somebody to go with Diamador Lenore on the outside, make Embry Thomas, even though I love him as a former Michigan guy, make him a rotational corner. He shouldn't be a starter. I went Kool-Aid. I still went Alabama. He was still sitting here on the board. Kool-Aid McKinstry on the outside for San Francisco. You need a bigger guy to go against the DK Metcalfs, the Marvin Harrison Jr.'s coming in to Arizona for me, and Puka and those guys in LA. I think Kool-Aid is the guy that can do that for San Francisco, given the rest of their defense. I really like that fit there. So I went Kool-Aid at 31 to San Francisco.
My thing with Kool-Aid is I watched that tape with him and Adonis, and Adonis just ate him up, dude. It's like,
yep.
And that's it. And besides that, his speed, like I said, he's only in the first round for me right now, depending on his 40 time. If I wrote another draft up after I see his 40 time, his position might change. He might fall out of the first round.
Now, for me, if you look at Kool-Aid's career tape at Alabama, that is one of maybe 3 or 4 games that he got cooked on a regular basis.
Right.
There's so much more tape that you can see of him locking down a number 1 receiver for a team. Like, we couldn't throw for shit against them. That was a pretty clear thing for me that, okay, Arnold and Kool-Aid are both the guy. They're both first-round corners, in my opinion, and I've got them both going first round. Last year, when Alabama played Texas, they didn't do much against that secondary, Kool-Aid being a big part of that. Most of the Georgia.
I ain't gonna lie, that tape biased me. That one. Yeah. I did watch Kool-Aid on his, but I was already biased by then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, well, he got lucky here. He did that right. I just and his speed, he has to get that big that 10-yard jump too. Sometimes I saw him lining up 15 yards off the receiver, you know what I mean? That doesn't bode well for him in the NFL if they play a lot of press or something, you know?
Yeah. Which San Francisco plays a lot more zone. That's kind of why I was thinking that fit as well. Yeah. I think he's that good cover 3, cover 4 style corner. Doesn't have to play as much man-to-man. So
yeah, as long as you got somebody over the top, I don't have no worries about him. If there's somebody, is there safety playing over the top, then absolutely go for it.
Yeah, fair. All right. The final pick in the first round, the Kansas City Chiefs, the back-to-back Super Bowl champions, select who?
Xavier Worthy, wide receiver out of Texas.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I you know how bad I hated it, but come on, logically, you saw how many balls they've dropped. You know what I mean? Yep. And this guy's got hands, dude. He's got really good hands. So
yeah,
he's there.
He's a speed
there.
demon. Speed demon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also went wide receiver. I kind of use this pick to troll someone in our group here. As they like to say, for this guy, Troy motherfucking Franklin from Oregon, Kansas City Chief, catching balls from Patrick Mahomes. I think that's another match made in heaven for Chiefs fans. Troy Franklin is one of those guys that kind of like Tez Walker and some of those. He is that dude. I think a great first round pick or a steal in the second round. I think it's a match made in heaven for Kansas City. Sorry, honestly, Alec, I had to do it.
I started to put him with the Rams just to say, screw it. I don't care if it fits or not. Just put him there just to piss Alec off.
For Bo Nix, yeah.
But I couldn't do it, man. I'd be honest with it. And yeah.
I like those mock drafts. I like those a lot. Sean said, impossible. He's going to Washington for Troy Franklin. That's the one spot also that Alec doesn't want him to go. He doesn't want to get a Commanders Troy Franklin jersey, but he did say he's going to get a Franklin jersey wherever he ends up. So why not make him get it?
I don't remember.
You gave them Drake May.
Oh, okay. Yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Why do I even have to think about that one?
Yeah. Plus, I think that would be a fun little interaction because I also did. Drake May and Sam Howell, they were both together at North Carolina as well for a year, so kind of have that interaction again.
Drake comes in and says, I took your place, Sam. How you like it?
Yeah. No, I think that would be a lot of fun.
You think they might get Jaden Daniels just to avoid that?
I don't know. Well, that's another one too, though. Is if Washington decides they're going quarterback here, does somebody take a shot on Sam Howell? We were talking all these other quarterbacks going elsewhere. Sam Howell could be fun with throwing.
I think somebody would pick him up, but if they let him go, I think somebody would pick him up, but not as a starter.
See, I kind of what we were saying with Vegas, a guy potentially, if you don't think he's your long-term guy to hold you over for a year or two, I think Sam Howell in Vegas could be fun. Especially if they're keeping Devontae Adams.
If that's some bullshit, who the fuck is Vegas's quarterback?
Aiden O'Connell, the 4th round pick from this past year.
Who the fuck he is? Oh.
See, and Sean, that's kind of where I've started to lean as well. But I'm still holding on.
I think everybody around there is starting to see Daniels and I think that's a personal. I don't know. I think I'm sticking with Drake.
It's that Kingsbury style of quarterback. Jaden Daniels is that Kingsbury style of quarterback. I think Kingsbury's dream scenario is to get to work with Caleb Williams again. But I think Daniels is the close second for him personally. See, and that's my thing too. I think Howell would be solid with the Raiders, especially if they keep Devontae. If they're staying true to their word and Tom Telesco is not going to move Devontae like he's said, then Howell goes to having a true number one receiver again. And you improve that offensive line. The offensive line in Vegas would be better than in Washington this past year. Sorry, Sean. I think I think that would be a lot of fun. I think that would be a good matchup, personally, or a good match. But I don't know that it'll happen. I could see Washington keeping Howell, even if they go with quarterback here, and maybe not rush that rookie quarterback in right away.
How many years do they got left on Howell?
2?
Is this his final year?
This is his third year. He's got 2 more. This year and then the 2025 season. Because he was drafted, so he's got a 4-year contract.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, because usually when a team drafts another quarterback, they release their starter.
Yeah.
They don't like to take and demote the starter.
Sean said if we did an entire season talking college ball and I don't get Drake. On the whole going back and forth with Andrew on the tank for May and this and that. Yeah. Somebody in our extended LTF family here has got to get Drake May.
Who would go? All right, take Washington out. Who's next up?
New England.
I could see. Oh no, I can't.
I could see them going for Drake May, but I don't think they're drafting a quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. I think.
So then you're looking at the teams that we said could possibly trade up: Vikings, the Broncos, the Raiders, potentially the Falcons if they don't go after Fields.
How old is Cousins now?
34, 33.
It's no secret that I don't like Cousins, but I do respect Cousins. I respect what he's done and shit. He just the whole starting that you like
mean that. To tell me you like that?
The Buccaneers. Was that just?
He'll be 36 at the start of the season.
Right.
I didn't realize he was that old. I thought.
Yeah, he's been with Washington. Remember that they drafted him with RG3, man.
Yeah, well, I knew he was in the league since 2012, but here's the thing: Stafford was drafted in 2009.
Well, Stafford's that's Iron Man walking around.
But here's the thing: Stafford was drafted in 2009. Kirk Cousins was drafted in 2012. They're the same age. They're both 36 this year. Drafted 3 years apart.
So we put Bo Nix in the first round.
Yeah.
Michael Penix.
No. His nail in the coffin for the first round for me was at the Senior Bowl. I know you didn't watch. He killed it the first 2 days of practice and then said, I don't want to get hurt. I'm not doing the rest of the Senior Bowl.
Well, as much as he's been hurt, I can understand that.
But that's the thing. When Bo Nix is there and you're competing with him and then you just back out.
Right.
Now, Bo Nix
how was he playing? How was he playing in the Senior Bowl?
During the practices, the 2 days of practice, Penix was far and away the best guy. But when you back out for fear of getting injured and you have that injury history, you're killed for the first round, in my opinion. Whether it's justified for you to back out or not. The other guy that's potential first round with you is they're competing. You compete with him.
I believe, I don't know if he's first round, but I believe he's going to get drafted in the first 2 rounds.
Penix, yeah. He's an early to mid second round guy.
And I like what bothers me is I think there's going to be a big run on quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Because of last year's situation with all the quarterbacks getting injured.
I think there's going to be a day 2 run on quarterbacks. I think we're going to have the 4, maybe 5 guys in the first round. And then I think on day 2, we're going to see another 5, 6 guys go. And they're going to go a lot earlier than they should. One guy that flew up the draft boards because of the Senior Bowl, played really well at the Senior Bowl, Spencer Rattler from South Carolina. Look for him to go
draft, man.
Look for him to go mid-second round, probably. He really did himself a lot of favors by going to that Senior Bowl.
He needed to. to.
And
there's a lot of question marks about him.
But a lot of the question marks were the mental side, the personality, the leadership, all that. He showed that in flying colors this year at South Carolina. I believe so.
I mean, of all people that needs to be at the combine, I think Rattler really does, so he can interview.
For the part, yeah.
Caleb Williams just blows my mind, though. No medical? Come on.
One, and Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't show up at all, from my understanding.
It's almost better to not show up than to not do anything at all. You know,
but that's my issue with Marvin, though, is again my same issue with those top 3 quarterbacks not throwing and that kind of stuff. There's such a tight race for that number 1 spot, whether it's the number 1 receiver spot, number 1 quarterback spot, and you don't show up, and especially for Marvin.
I think Harrison Jr. is getting that number 1 wide receiver spot.
Here's the thing, though. Now, I don't think this spite, because I think if Odunze and or Neighbors come out and have a phenomenal combine interview really well, and Marvin didn't show up, either of those guys, potentially both, could jump Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think that's that crazy to say. Because there's not a lot of teams don't
felt
view
like
that
that
big a gap between Marvin and Neighbors. They really
felt
don't.
that way about it until like 5 or 6 years ago, whenever it was, when people started holding out of the combine and then doing their pro days. Now, it depends on the pro day with Harrison. But, and I hate pro days because you got your own hand-selected receiver out there.
Yep.
Or for quarterbacks. Yep. You got your own skill set. You got your coaches there, and you got your own home environment. And it really doesn't tell you jack shit to me.
And from the reasoning why they're not doing the combine, I don't know that Marvin's doing the pro day either. Because his whole thing was, I'm not working on any of that stuff. I'm working on the NFL. So I don't think he's going to run at the pro day. I don't think he's going to do any of the drills at the pro day. I think he's just, I'll see you guys at the draft, which I think is a mistake.
It might be, but look what happened with Trevor Lawrence, dude. I mean, he didn't do the combine. He did the pro day.
But that's the thing. I don't think Marvin's doing the pro day either. And I think if he doesn't do either, I think
Sean.
those guys are going to jump him. You saw that you like that. Yeah, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is really making a mistake. I do.
Well, he don't have an agent either.
Yeah, I think that's a big issue. Personally,
you would think his dad would say something to him about that. You know?
Yeah.
Or maybe his dad's going to be his agent somewhere along the line.
I think that's personally a mistake too. You keep family out of that side of it.
Yep. Lamar Jackson, pay attention.
Yeah.
Well,
all right. I think I'm gonna wrap this one up so I can get the other show ready to go.
I want to say something personally to you. That opening was amazing, dude. That was great. I like that.
Oh, thank you. I made it. I came on here to get it all set up, and then the regular countdown that we had used has been deleted off here. So I was like, oh shit, I gotta make something. So it's just like went and made.
So I should have deleted the old
pretty
one.
Much, yeah, pretty much. One you'll love it too, because I've got an exit video as well.
Oh, cool, run it.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see you guys probably closer to 10:30 Eastern. I just got to do some final touches on that other show, get everyone kind of rounded up who's going to be on. And yeah, we'll see you guys in just a little bit.